Welcome on into another week here of WagerTalk Extra. Happy to be with you. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, alongside all of our great guests all week long, reminding you that no matter what sport you're cashing in on, that money is all going to spend the same. And we got a great week worked up for you with plenty of different sports under the sun, getting you actionable info in all of them. And we got some great deals to be sharing with you throughout the week as well. But let's get right into it. Started off how we always like to with Andy Lang, and typically we're talking some PGA. Don't worry, Nick Borrman will be joining us to give us thoughts on this kind of strange event this weekend. A lot of doubles play, and whenever I think of doubles playing golf, I think of Happy Gilmore and Bob Barker. So we're going to shelf that, and we're going to talk a little UFC with our man Andy Lang. And Andy, I say we get right into it with something that just continues to cash for us. It's our only segment that has its own sound drop. It's There Will Be Blood.
I want your blood. I want your souls. And I want them both right now.
And we want them both right now, and we want to know where we're going to be seeing some blood. And did we cash on the other one? Are we getting closer and closer to dressing up like Charlotte and Ric Flair? What are we looking at?
Yeah, we need to get to 15 wins on There Will Be Blood before we dress up like the Flares. We're at 5 now. Little controversial because we had the fight last week, and the guy that lost was not bloodied up. He caught a random knee, but the other guy was bloodied up. I double checked with other people. It was unanimous. That does count as a win. There was definitely blood coming out of his forehead. So we did cash on There Will Be Blood, and again, the fight went under. That's what we talk about. The segment There Will Be Blood means, we're looking at taking some unders. Are these fights to not go the distance? So this week, got to be honest, at first, my favorite was Ricky Simone and Song Yadong. That fight got moved to next week. So my runner-up was Jeremiah Wells and Matthew Semelsberger, and we're going to take this for our There Will Be Blood segment. So you got Jeremiah Wells, who's a powerhouse. He finished Court McGee. It was the first time Court McGee got knocked out. He submitted Blood Diamond, but this guy has incredible power. And Matthew Semelsberger does not have very good striking defense. He leaves big gaps between his hands, so punches can kind of get through this guard of his. And Semelsberger he's not fought the best competition recently. I think this is going to be a trouble spot for Matthew. He's going to have a pretty nice reach advantage, and he's going to work the jab. But I think Jeremiah Wells gets to him early, and Semelsberger's tough. He's going to be hard to knock out. And Jeremiah Wells can be pieced up as well because he doesn't have that long reach. So I'm expecting Semelsberger to try and work the distance, but I am expecting Wells to be able to get through. Wouldn't surprise me if both these guys take a lot of damage. If there is going to be a finish, it's probably Jeremiah Wells knocking out Semelsberger. I expect Semelsberger to get beat up pretty good. I expect him to be the one that's bleeding at the end of the fight. But regardless, look for some violence in this one and for this one to not go the distance.
We're looking at the under, and we're looking to get 6 different fights that we have seen some blood. And as Andy said, 15, and you will see us looking very Flair-like. A lot of woos coming in your near future. And when we get to 15, there will be blood fights. Hop below in the comments. Let us know where you think there might be a fight going under. Always appreciate seeing your thoughts below there. All right, Andy, let's get into the fight that you are excited to watch. And this is a fighter that you've been talking about really since he burst on the scene when you're talking about Bobby Green and Jared Gordon. So fight to watch. I set it up there for you. Why are you excited?
Well, we're excited because when you bet on Bobby Green, you don't really need to bet on him to win if you think he's going to win. You bet on him to win by decision. Since 2013, he has 8 wins. Only one of them has been by knockout, and that was Ali Quinta, who was openly retiring, took a paycheck, didn't really care about the fight. So he got the knockout in the first round. But other than that, when Bobby Green wins, it's by decision. He uses those jabs incredibly effective. He's got amazing takedown defense. He's just looking to pretty much piece his opponent apart. And Jared Gordon is not exactly the finishing type. Jared Gordon's actually lost 2 out of 3. He lost a kind of a controversial decision against Paddy Pimblett. And what happened was Gordon just got a little bit tired in the third round. He pushed Pimblett up against the cage, but he didn't do any damage. And the activity of Pimblett is what got him the win. So I expect Bobby Green to be able to utilize that jab and make this a standing affair. And if it stays standing for 3 rounds, this is Bobby Green by decision all the way. Bobby Green is coming off of 2 losses. I don't put too much into that. One is against the beast that is Islam Makhachev. That was a short notice fight that he took. And then Drew Dober. Listen, it goes down as a knockout loss. He was winning that fight easily. Dober was all bloodied up, but Dober's an animal. I don't think the man feels any pain. He lands the Hail Mary shot, left left shot that knocked out Green. But Green was winning easily. So this is a drop down in competition for Bobby Green. He always does well when he drops down. He tends to lose to the big names, but he beats up these lesser opponents. I think this is a Bobby Green by decision written all over it. So when you're looking at these odds, don't worry about taking Bobby Green to win. If you think Bobby Green's going to win, take him by decision. I expect this bet to cash again.
WT.buzz/AL is where you can find my man Andy Lang. He's got a 5%er locked and loaded. We'll talk about that in just a few. But one of the things that you and your team does terrifically is finding value in same game parlays and finding value just with parlay pieces as well. And I think you're going to start giving the folks a little free action here on WagerTalk Extra and start running down a litany of fights. We got a new segment we're going to be debuting next week. Why don't you tell the folks a little bit about it before we go check out your page over at WagerTalk?
Yeah, we're writing articles now for WagerTalk.com on the MMA events that are coming up. So we're going to do a segment where we do some quick hits, where we break down 5 fights in try to keep it under 1 minute. And if you want to have some fun with it, you could throw a little bit of money on a parlay, but really we're going to do 5 bets and we're hoping to cash 3 or 4 of those. 5 would be amazing, but let's be realistic. If we hit 3 or 4, we're going to be profitable. So we're looking to break down a bunch of fights, give you a little tidbit on each one, and bring some more money to those bankrolls.
Well, Andy, as you say, hope to get it done under a minute. If our Canadian friend Carmine Bianco can get 6 NHL picks in 60 seconds, and he's notoriously loquacious, I think you'll be able to get it done. We'll see. It'll be a nice challenge for you, and maybe we'll have to have some prizes if you're able to get it done, and especially if we're able to cash in all 5 1 week. Maybe we'll do something a little special. Get a promo code here for the folks on Wager Talk Extra. All right, Andy, speaking of promo codes, 5% that you have up, a great deal and a great way to make that even more valuable is using the code TRYWT. So if it's your first time ever purchasing picks, you head on over, you load up a cart of either a 1-day all access or a 3-day all access pass. And if it's your first time purchasing at wagertalk.com, you can slash 50% off. So I would suggest with a 5%er for Andy Lang this weekend, you get that 3-day all access pass because you'll get that. And what else are they going to get, Andy, for 50% off?
Oh, man, we've got NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs. We've got golf. We've got lacrosse. We've got soccer. We've got tennis, a little bit of everything. So this includes all of our 5% plays, and we have an incredible 5% play that is up in UFC. We had a great weekend last weekend. We're hitting around 69% on our 4% and 5% plays this year. So if we keep that stretch up, this is going to be, this is going to be a record-breaking 2023 if we keep that up. And this 5% play is just perfect. It's right in our wheelhouse. We went a little bit with quantity last weekend as we had a bunch of smaller plays at smaller percentage, but this week we're going big. We've got 1 play up and it's a doozy. I cannot wait to cash this one. That's at wagertalk.com.
That's Andy Lang. As we said, check him out over there. And as he mentioned, lacrosse. I don't think any plays loaded for tonight. One that we were thinking about was Holy Cross and UMass Lowell. UMass Lowell getting the 3 points. Just couldn't bring ourselves to betting a matchup that both teams have not won a game yet. But we were looking at UMass Lowell. So depending when you're joining us, maybe a little mini free play there for you. +3 as they're taking on Holy Cross this evening. Big thanks to Andy Lang. Always love talking with my man. Excited to roll out that new segment for you next week. One more order of business to take care of here on Wager Talk Extra. That's our man Nick Borrman over at SportsMemo taking a look at the Zurich Classic right after this. Welcome on back here to Wager Talk Extra, and we're going to talk a little PGA here. Only one PGA guest we have for you for the week, but don't worry, we got Korean baseball coming up later this week. We're going to be talking a little Davis and Garcia boxing coming up this week, so we're going to have you covered here on Wager Talk Extra. But let's welcome in our man from over at SportsMemo, Nick Borrman, to take a look at the Zurich Classic going on this weekend. So, Nick, before we get into it, since you're our only golf expert we'll have this week, usually we dive right in with our outrights. We'll get the folks those plays. But first, what should we expect from this? A smaller field, some lesser-known names. What should people expect coming into this weekend's action?
First of all, Dan, I'm still kicking myself for Cantley last week. Lead on back
I wasn't
going to
say it.
One shot short of the playoff. Every time I bet him, I say I won't do it again, and here I am again. So that close. But I digress. We move on to this week at the Zurich, which is a unique PGA Tour event, partners event, the only official tour event where they play partners events. So there's 82-man teams. There is 4 rounds being played. They alternate Thursday and Friday between best ball and alternate shot cuts made, and then they do that again on Saturday and Sunday. So obviously a lot of low scores. The guys, no matter who you're looking at in the field, even some of the lesser names, these guys are good enough on best ball to get into the into the mid 50s on those rounds. You'll see guys at 56, 57. But really the cream of the crop is going to rise when you get to the 2 alternate shot matches. And that's where you got to look at, the top of the odds boards. You got obviously Cantley and Schauffele as the defending champs, clear-cut favorites this week, rounded out by Homa, Morikawa. And then you start to get into like Sungjae Im and Mitchell. Like one guy's pretty good, but the partner's like, meh. So it's really top heavy in this event, Dan. I find it I will be very surprised, let me say it that way, if somebody, in the top 10 or 11 of the odds board does not win this thing. And if you look back at the results, it is some of the favorites that are winning there because you need at least one of the guys to be in pretty good form coming in here. And if you want to get a full breakdown of this, Dan, you go to WagerTalk News site, and I have a full breakdown of this event and the course and everything you need to know. But again, this is a fun, unique event. It's going to be definitely less on the stress-o-meter for the guys this week. And it's not a lot of the big names. They needed a week off, and they're getting one this week.
Yeah, and that WagerTalk News tab, one of the best free resources that we have over at WagerTalk.com, our free odds page, free picks loaded every single day. So definitely go over there and check it out. WagerTalk.com, click on that news tab. Great info loaded there each and every day. All right, let's get into some outright winners here, Nick, in the Zurich Classic. What team do you think might be able to get it done?
This is the week, Dan. We're going with the Kims, the pair of Tom and Siwoo. Right now, you can get them at 16-1 at either FanDuel or DraftKings. Tom Kim, to me, is just built for this type of event. It's a partners event. This brings out personalities. You look at his record back at the President's Cup in the fall. He was the most electric player from either side. Obviously, the Americans dominated that event, but he was, the fans love this guy. And he was the only one on the international side that was consistently taking points from the Americans, and he's just set up to play in this type of event. I think it's perfect for him. He had a torrid fall. He won the Shriners Children's Open, part of a run of 7 top 25s in 8 starts, including 5 top 10s. He's since cooled of late, but let's be honest. The last 2 months have basically all been designated events, and Kim has competed in 7, beginning with the Waste Management Phoenix Open. He had made the cut in the first 5. Stroke play ones, forgetting the Dell match play, of course, until last week at Harbortown where he did miss the cut. He lacked the flair that we've seen in the fall with only 1 top 25 finish recently, but that did come at Augusta at the Masters. He finished tied for 16th. But again, I think this format is going to bring his swagger back. It's a weaker field event, which he is near the top of the odds board for a reason. He ranks 10th in this field in total strokes gained over the last 6 months, while his partner ranks 14th. So you got 2 guys near the top here. Even better, strokes gained tee to green, top 8 for both. And I think that's going to be the important metric to look at during the alternate shot. Like I said, everybody's going to go low on that better ball, but the alternate shot, you need 2 good guys that are solid tee to green, because all it takes is 1 weak link and you're playing out of
Mhm.
the woods or out of the water, all 18 holes. So these guys, I don't think are going to put each other in any danger. So I like the Kims 16-1 to get the job done.
16-1 looking for the Kim, not named Kardashian, to break the internet and get the ticket home there for you, Nick. I love that one. All right, before we let you go, let's also take a look at some of these top 20 and top 10 finishes. Some nice plus money that you have on two guys that you think might be getting it done here as well. Who are you eyeing?
Yeah, we cashed yet another one last week on Cooch coming through for that top 20.
Cooch.
And hopefully we'll do that again this week. I'm looking at the pairing of Wyndham Clark and Bo Hostler. Names, if you're not a regular golf follower, you might not know. And really, Bo's a Hostler is not a name that I really haven't bet on in a while. But the reason I'm taking this pairing is Wyndham Clark. And when there's a weak field event on the schedule, the first thing you do is you look for Wyndham Clark and you go, all right, what's his number? Can I bet this guy this week? He played great in the fall when it's mostly weak field events. He finished in the top 20 in 3 of his final 4 starts. And in his 2 most recent weak field events, he had chances to win both at Punta Cana and the Valspar, finishing 5th and 6th in those events with clear-cut chance on Sunday to win. What I really like from Clark, he's made the cut in 13 straight events, which includes 5 designated events, including a tie for 29th last week at Harbortown. So even if he's not up at the top of the leaderboard, he's making the cuts in even the deepest fields. And I think just him alone will be enough to get to the weekend. And of course, if you get to the weekend and you're out and you have a leaderboard bet, you always have a chance to cash. Hostler, like I said, not as consistent. Missed cuts actually in 4 of his last 6. 3 of those were designated events. So, but in this weaker field, he has done well in the fall. He had solid finishes. He had 5 top 25s in a span of 10 starts. His strength is his putter. He ranks inside the top 20 in this field. Strokes gained putting over the last year. That's certainly going to come in handy on the go low days, which is the better ball day. So I like this pairing to be in the mix come Sunday. Top 10 plus 250, top 20, just a little over even money is a good bet for this week.
Hostler and Clark. Nick, you mentioned that people can check out your thoughts of the Zurich Classic over at WagerTalk News for free. But when they head on over to your page at SportsMemo, what are they going to find locked and loaded for action this weekend? I know MLS has also been pretty kind to you.
MLS has been great, up 27 units on the season, going for 5 straight winning years in the MLS. I got 2 Champions League best bets going, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, as teams look to get into the semifinals. And then, of course, the Zurich PGA pack is available for $19, and that includes the outrights and leaderboard bets for this week's action. I may, because of this format, I'll probably have 1 or 2 daily ads as well as far as matchups go. So looking forward to a good week, but all that's available right now on my page at SportsMemo.
And if you've never purchased from us before, you can head on over to sportsmemo.com and check out Nick Borman's page, and you can get all that action for half price using code TRYMEMO. That's TRYMEMO. If it's your first time buy over at sportsmemo.com, why not grab Nick a 3-day all-access pass and chop 50% off of that? Great deal that we have going over there at sportsmemo.com. That's going to do it to us. Big thanks to Nick Borman joining us and breaking down the PGA. Andy Lang previewing UFC action as well. We're going to be back tomorrow with another loaded edition. Kevin Dolan and Rob Vino making his debut here on WagerTalk Extra. So don't miss that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of the great shows here at WagerTalk TV. And we'll see you tomorrow right here on WagerTalk Extra.